Hello, everyone. Is this thing on? I'm hoping it is. I would hate for you to hear my other microphone by accident. Anyway, we can officially start. I am just pulling up real quick a copy of the stream conversation on my other monitor so that I can actually see what people are saying in chat. Obviously, this won't show up in the VOD at all, which will be a shame. So I'll be sure to mention who and what they're saying when, if people say anything that in particular shines out to me. It's nice to see anybody who's come here today. We're gonna start soon. First, we're gonna play. So, let me just give you the basic information that I have here in terms of what these games are. They're all kind of a grab bag. I wanted them to be a little random for me, so I didn't spend a lot of time learning about them. I looked at the art and then I said, that looks crazy. I looked to make sure it could run on my computer because my computer is a little awkward. And I pretty much just made a guess based on those pieces of information about whether or not it would be interesting. Two of them are made in the RPG Maker engine, and one of them, I believe, is made... I'm not really sure how Sluggish Morss is made, but regardless, the main sort of feature point is that they're all very psychedelic and colorful. I wanted them to have a real reality-bending theme to them, and there's going to be a lot of reading, so I hope you're okay with my attempt at a narration of whatever we run into. We're going to try to go for at least 2 hours. And if we go a little over, that's not a big deal. There may be some things that hold us up here. Firstly, it seems like it's starting to storm around where I'm at right now. So if it gets too bad, I might have to mute for a little bit or maybe call it off early. We'll see. Other than that, what else was I going to say? I think that's all the big pieces of information that I had in mind. Anyway, it's nice to see anybody who's gotten here, and hello again, and I'm Erito. You just call me that for the purpose of the stream. I'm hoping you'll find one of these games interesting. If anybody likes the last game I'm going to be playing in this, Sluggish Morss, this is going to be like one part of the game. Each of them are individually playable from what I understand, but they're also part of a collection of games that comment on each other. So we could play another from the franchise later. Again, let me pull up. This is my first official stream, by the way. I've done a couple test streams you've probably seen before, but I wanted this one to be a little bit more fancy, so I put a little bit of extra bells and whistles on it. Nothing too special because I'm still new to it, but enough to make it functional. But if you notice any awkwardness, just let me know. Also, the other main thing is going to be the audio volume. I set the mic to be about like -7 decibel or -0.7 decibels, and the desktop audio to be way lower. It's going to take me a second to transition from each game And as a result of that, it's gonna be just a little bit of time to, like, you're gonna see a black screen. It's gonna take a little bit for me to tweak it so that you can actually see it and not have it be like hurting your ears. So expect a little bit of that because I'm still sort of new to that. I forgot my own stream. Like, the thing is I called myself Airtone here, and that's really funny because, like, it means it's kind of hard for me to look myself up. So, because just a bunch of, like, random Greek videos will show up when I try to look myself up. So I'm going to actually share the link to the stream with myself. Alright, there we go. I will also put a timestamp for the VOD, whether or not when I'm done there. Alright, this here. And another thing I've reminded myself here is I should probably, there's going to be a little bit of I'm going to be pontificating about some things related to streaming. Like, oh, I should get this set up. That's because, this is like my first amateur streams. But one thing I'm starting to realize right away, I should probably get some moderation and some moderation related information ready there, so that I can help guide the chat a little bit. Most people I've seen who stream on YouTube don't spend as much time with like rules and regulations. Oh, I apologize for that. Rules and regulations and stuff, and I definitely don't want to be a stickler about that stuff, but I would like to be able to have some basic moderation so that I can help keep things cool and level-headed. There's a lot of people out there that don't quite like me, and I wouldn't really want that to infect the chat too much. But here I am. Okay, well, looks like we've got enough people to start. Hello, everybody. Mark says hello. Florgale says hello. Hello, people. Hi. We have another straggler in here who I won't name for the purposes of a little bit of anonymity, but they seem a little lost. I know there's quite a few people who have probably subscribed to me over the years that don't really remember why, because I'm not like somebody who typically uploads very often. So it'll be like a nice little surprise for you, but regardless, I hope you have fun. All right, let me open up the game. Let's get the show on the road here. No more need to dilly-dally. All right. First, we're going to start with this game called Paper Angel. This is a short visual novel with some color effects. Unfortunately, since these games are more on the obscure side, I couldn't get any like content warnings. There might be some within the actual content of the game themselves, but at least on the store pages for each of them, on Itch.io and stuff, I didn't see any. But I'll just outline that there will be a general warning for like difficult visuals and stuff. Oh right, I forgot to actually set the desktop audio a little lower than that, so I guess you heard that. Anyway, yeah, let me open this up. I hope you guys like some reading. That's definitely going to be happening quite a bit here. if any of the audio is awkward, feel free to shout out and let me know. I can very easily change the audio volumes a little bit to be more compatible. And I'll try to do my best to keep the amateurness of our little adventure here to a bare minimum. But you'll have to excuse a little bit of the shortcomings there. Actually, hold on. Let me. That should work. Turn the cursor off. I guess turning the cursor off for visual novel games is probably reasonable. I don't know. I guess I'll keep it on because my cursor is not a Windows cursor. Well, it is a Windows cursor, but the basic cursor that you have when you're using Windows is like white. It's like pale, and it can be kind of garish to look at. So there's actually an option to turn it to like a black outline cursor or like other colorful type stuff. And I highly recommend doing that, but I think my cursor's got enough gothicness going on that it's not as difficult as it would be. Yeah, I realize that. I'm just trying to set this up here real quick. I'll just do display caption. How about that? Or Alright, doesn't look like I've doxed anything, but I should turn this shit off. Move. Is it it's probably not showing now, huh? It's just so weird to me because it's showing up that it does see it here. Well, the game is already windowed, that's the issue. Otherwise, find a window of the same type. That seems good to me. I think the issue is that there's just a confirmation difficulty. Auto. I don't know what this ridiculous visual effect is here. Yeah, that's weird. Let me... Alright, this should only take another second here real quick. I'm gonna mute real quick so I can figure this out. Okay, perfect. It should be showing the game now. I'll just take a quick second to make sure that's confirmed. I'm gonna do this real quick. I will try to keep the typing noises to a minimum because I have a mechanical keyboard, so you might hear a little bit of stickiness. Other than that, yeah, it looks like we can start. So the black boxes on the side, we're just gonna have to suffer them. Although I think I could probably actually, well, I could stretch it, but I don't really want to mess with that. This should be the only game in the collection here that has this aspect ratio. I'm very comfortable with 4:3 or 16:9 type aspect ratios over what we tend to find more typical. In fact, it's like I prefer it. But the black bars might be a little awkward for people, but that's all right. I'm a little bit gothic, so I don't really mind it just being there like that. There's no full screen option for this game, unfortunately. Yeah, I'll probably do that next time, but it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, we can start now. I'm gonna turn the game up just a touch on my side. I would read this loud if it was audible, if it made sense. I made soup. This is soup. I made this. I am bringing it to... I was going to bring it somewhere. This is not soup for me. I am bringing it to someone. I will bring it. Yeah, I'm hoping what you're hearing is a sound design in the game and not like piano or the tapping or whatever. Yeah, I think I've heard this specific noise before. I think I've heard it in a couple other visual novel games before, and it's a very nice rhythm. I'm not sure if it's a audio stock one. That's what one of our anonymous said this. Yeah. Photogale says this game is really beautiful. Rainbow goop. Yeah, I like the color design a lot. All the games I chose for the day have this exact same color design. But I'm gonna focus on reading for a little bit. I'll get back to you guys in a little bit. All right. They're Spinwhim. I know this. It smells wonderful. Please come closer. This is for them. Ah, you did so well. I thank you. It is very delicious. You're amazing, my beauty. I am... what? I would love it if you played a film on the projector. I believe you will love it too. It is there for you. The projector is there for me. I'm just letting this image soak in for a second. It's very nice. They have their eye closed. No longer looking. I will not either. I know I come off very noble, but I'm definitely gonna say either and not either. So you're gonna have to get just used to that. It is day. They are gone. Where? Hello, you little beauty. How are you doing? A question. Me. Yes, you. You silly apple. How are you feeling? What? You are so endearing. Take your time. I have been feeling better, very much so. I can finally think. It is still snowing hard, but at least it is no longer as intense as it was. It feels like the pieces of this time have been forming. Yes. I thank you again for everything you've done this past week. Yes. Do you know how you are feeling? You seem different to me. I hope I haven't given you my sickness somehow. Tell me, is there a reason? Want to plead the fifth? Ah, you're so quiet. Excuse my impatience, but I really want to know why. Yeah, this is how I would react in real life. I would probably just freeze up too because, I never really quite know how to express confusion, so I just tend to look bewildered and let other people lead. You can say anything to me. You are my funny little apple. You could do anything you want. Apple? Yes, you are. You are very much an apple. Now, I am fine if you wish to not speak on your feelings. It brings me happiness to hear anything from you, even if you are being minimal. So I do encourage you to speak your mind when you can. I always find it really funny when people insist on speaking without using any contractions. Like, that's usually a sign that somebody's trying to be very self-important. It's a very fun, energy, but then if they keep it up for too long, you're sort of just like, okay, dude, we don't have to slow down everything, alright? Now. Please make me another bowl of soup. I believe this will be the last. I can't thank you enough for your meals, little one. I make soup. Hee hee, yes. You're sweet. I am assuming that those are supposed to be chapter breaks, but because we're a little disoriented, we can't really understand them. Just for context, most of the time when it's a flat screen like this, I just have to hit the action button to continue, like it would be a piece of dialogue. But whenever it fades out, that's operating outside of my control. It's just automatically happening. I think this is living. What happened? I made soup, but where did I go? Why am I here now? Where? Spinwhim. It's good to see you, my beloved apple. I'm about to rest my head and enter another world. That's one way to describe dreaming. Were you wandering around? Was I? I don't know. I see. That's definitely not going to haunt my nightmares. That's a really good screenshot. I want to take a picture of that. Staring at me. Oh, I should turn off the screenshot noise while I'm in the middle of streaming. I'll have to remember to do that next time. Staring at me. I suppose this means you're inside of that mysterious self of yours. If you're wondering, you are usually so enthusiastic, so kind, a little more like me. This is typical of my creations. This is reminding me a little bit of this game called, or not game, but like this anime, 12-part anime, but I can't remember the exact name of it right now. It starts with a K. I'll look it up when I'm done, but I agree with Anonymous's here point that it reminds me, it reminds us also a lot of the work of Akira, or I think, not Akira Yamaoka or Yamaoka, but the guy who did the soundtrack for that. I sometimes get it confused that the person who made the soundtrack made the game, but the person who made the soundtrack for Akira also, like the movie, also made some other really nice like soundtracks as well. Yeah, Floater Girl says that the dialogue reminds her of Mr. Rayner's Solve It service. I recall seeing a little bit about that game. It looked really nice and pleasant. I'll probably check that out at some point. And yeah. But sometimes, like now, you become more reserved and confused. I don't know if I understand. You made me? Of course. You have been my little helper for about a week now. I don't remember. I had a feeling you couldn't. You might as well be a new person when you're not being me. Yes, this is Fluttergale asks if this is an RPG Maker game. Yes, it is. This one and the next game we'll play are both RPG Maker games. I'm not sure what engine Sluggish More is built in. I really must know. How are you feeling? This question. Oh, how about, let me rephrase. In this existence, more normal or unusual to you? Whichever is closest. Definitely unusual, but I would like this to be my normal to a certain extent. More unusual, this is way unusual, I think. You are right, it is strange. Would you prefer to have this be the way you are? Oh, well, I just said earlier yes, so yeah. I prefer it. I want to be me. I have to work a little bit on my sight reading. Sorry about that. You are so interesting. Despite this confusion, you want to be yourself. Ah, I find myself amazed by this. I feel like I'm being played with by the Cheshire Cat, you know? Though I can't help but be a little sad. Why? I will take my final rest here. Have some rest too. Sweet dreams, my beauty. Looks like our guest here is about to pull a bit of a Eldritch finale. Oh, I'm so tired. I am awake. I am me. Spinwim is gone again. They said it was the last night. Gone? I really like the snowing effect. Ah, hello, you wonderful little thing. I have taken care of the snow blocking the way. There is now a bit of pathway as well. Just got a head start. It will take some time to get back to the nearest town. But I feel so energized now. Ah, I look forward to the beautiful lights. It's exciting, isn't it? Huh? is it? Or why are you like that? Because it is going to be amazing. This evil grin. I think this game must have come out before Deltarune, but it reminds me a little bit of Jewel. My little apple, I must ask, do you want to leave with me or stay here? I mean, you're asking me a lot of choices I just bet, like, you could just give me a little bit more information here, but I'll say, I'll go with you. You seem comfortable enough, even if you tease a lot. I want to go with you. Perfect. I would love for you to be with me. Come closer to me. This has been such a beautiful time. When I came here, my head was caving in. I was boiling. I was lethargic. I could barely think straight. Yeah, morning hangover headaches are like the worst, right? But then I made you. You were my gorgeous mirror, the apple of my eye. You were like a film I watched, made real. My perception warped you, and you are something else. Why? When I say I want you to come with me, I mean I want to absorb you back into me. Uh-oh, we're getting assimilated by the hive mind. You will be returning from where you came. Your thoughts will be my thoughts again, and it will be like a dream to me. It will be wonderful. Do you really wish to? No, I don't really feel like being completely absorbed. You know, if there was like a little bit of me left that I could like see around, I think I'd be fine with that. But if you're just gonna completely eat me, then that doesn't really feel like me. No, I don't want to. Oh, you didn't want to be a part of me again? I'm very sorry, my sweet apple. But if you're coming with me, I must absorb you back into me. Well, then I'm not gonna go. Like, you know, I want your thoughts again. So to make things clear, I must ask again. Well, if you want my thought, well, like, the bargain seems a little one-dimensional here. You're just gonna eat me? You said you're gonna eat me, and then that's it. And you even called me an apple because you're trying to consume me? No way, pal. You're gonna have to find a better subject to pull this game. Plus, I got you some soup, so I don't see how this is very fair. I will be staying here. I see. So, you have made up your mind. Ha 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 ha. Oh. Isn't that just like me? You enjoyed yourself, my sweet apple. May we meet again. Oh. They're just leaving. A one-night stand, huh? You think you know a guy, and then they just up and leave, huh? I was wondering if anybody was interested in seeing what the other options are, since this game is particularly short. Like, if we do go with them, what it would look like. I'm mostly curious to see if it would change the visual style or what, but if people would rather go on to the next game, we can. I believe I could just shift and go through to the relevant options real quick. That's usually how. I think I must have mentioned before that this was made in RPG Maker, but this one might actually be made in Rempi. So I would have to check on that. I'll have to make sure to get the year and the engine for games in the future when I do this, huh? Anyway, yeah, it seems people are not have no strong opinion about going through this again or not. I am not entirely satisfied with the ending of that, so I want to go through this again real quick just to see what our other options are. Unless it's going to take a while. I think, yeah, probably you have to wait through the, I don't know, here we go. The screen information is going to fly by really fast, so just bear with that if you can handle it. While I do that, let me see if I can pull up the name of the anime I was thinking of. I'll say something this time. Something. Oh, hee hee hee. That is something. I mean, you can say whatever to me. You are my funny little apple. You could do anything you want. Apple. Yes, you are. Okay, and it looks like... Yep. Yeah, this is definitely Renpy and not what I thought it was. Which was RPG Maker. But the game after this is definitely an RPG Maker game. I still think this is unusual. Yes, Mark asked, are you going to archive the stream? Yes. For various people who have maybe been around before, I didn't archive. Well, I archived, but privated, unlisted the last couple streams I did, because they were just test streams. Now that I think I have the basic enough competency to not get stuck on, like, audio issues or playing boring games that, like, I don't actually understand and stuff like this, like, now that I think I've kind of overcome these boundaries before, I'm gonna keep streams into the future, at least the ones that I'm highly preparing for, archived, unless something dramatic, like real life dramatic or otherwise happens. I'll try to keep the estimated runtime somewhere close to around like 2 to 3 hours, because I don't know, I can imagine in like a 6-hour stream I might say something stupid that I'm not like thinking about or a fan of. I often kind of I'm not gonna like shame people who obviously have to do this for like a living or like whatever else, but I do always find it kind of odd that like most streams seem to happen with like literally 10 minutes break, and I think I wouldn't be able to do that. I think I'd have to like, I think I do have this built-in system, especially if I'm talking for a long time, of like the Wii instruction booklet, like please get up and walk around and like don't hit stuff like by accident with your remote, and don't remember to get some sunshine every 15 minutes every hour or so. I think I actually do have like a system in my head that has to actually partake in that. So when I'm on my own, just chilling out, I can usually neglect that sort of thing, but I definitely wouldn't be the type to be able to just like do that for that long, you know. I'd have to take like at least a small little break in between. But yeah, I'll also timestamp each of the games in case people are interested after everything is said and done. More unusual. This is way more unusual. I picked this option again because I didn't. I still think it's unusual, you know. I do not want to be mean. Ah, so you're unhappy with this confusion. I'm very sad to hear, but I understand. Why don't we get some rest now? Sweet dreams. I skipped that by accident, my bad. Oh. I'm so tired. I believe we're those aren't wingdings, but those are a visual thing similar. You see them a little bit sometimes with like East Coast, not East Coast rap, but like East Coast Memphis rap albums and stuff. You'll sometimes see like that specific typology. You don't see it very often. It's kind of funny. I'm awake. I am me. They said it was last night. Gone? Okay, yeah. We've seen this before. It's just so bizarre that sometimes I forget whether or not we've read certain pieces of dialogue before. We read this, though. So it doesn't look like there's too many branching options. I do. I want to return. Oh, my beautiful apple. You will no longer live in this confusion of yours. You will be safe. Let me hear your thoughts now. Oh. I can't think. I don't know anything. You will understand. I see. Oh, I mean, I don't really remember what the discrepancy between the two visuals are for the ending. I guess we got like an extra little smile at the end. I know one person I really like to watch sometimes, mainly Badass Hero, will do like a little discussion, like a cute little discussion about the game at the end. I don't really have much to say about this one. It reminds me a little bit of my experiences with plurality, where you have like, so there's like a concept of splitting consciousnesses, and then like you'll have one part of like one system of thought, to put this in a way that might make sense to people who are plural. You'll have like one system of thought actually in dialogue with another. It's kind of like a Socratic dialogue going on between like separate entities, and then there's the concept of like piloting or co-piloting. So very much just like piloting a plane, there will be like very much like a shift between who takes over, and there will be often like a little bit of a small argument going on. For people who are more unfamiliar, that might sound very odd, but it often can go sort of like this, like trying to relax the other person and calm them down. One of the things that I was very impressed by is the visual design for the character we were taking care of. I don't actually remember if we got a name or not, so I apologize about that. But the name of the character that we were talking to had like a very specific, like reminded me of the Cheshire Cat and stuff, because the character design was just so well realized. I don't really have much else to say. I think I really like the audio. I've heard this specific track in at least one other visual novel before. I'll have to pull up the name of that. I played it very recently too. It was like something like that. I don't know if anybody is very interested in specific references. If you're interested in knowing exactly what I'm referencing, I will let you know when I like I can spend time like shifting through the information I have, but otherwise I'll just like throw it away because my recall is really bad. So like, oh, by the way, this game reminds me of Kyosugiga, which is also about, or the anime Kyosugiga, I believe it's called, and it's very much the same sort of like mythic interaction between creation and creator and like this uncomfortable relationship they have, and like having to take care of a family and being a little bit confused on where you are. Anyway, but yeah, very clearly this was made specifically with the intentions of focusing almost entirely on the visual qualities, but I think they did it feels almost like this is my favorite type of game. It's like the student project type of game, you know, where like it's made with a very specific focus on like visuals or expressing like a specific idea or like visual style over any like big story or world or anything like that. Like, and that's like one of my favorite things to find in games when you're like on this lower, like more obscure level, is just things that feel like strange scrapbooks you found. This very much reflects the main focus for what I was trying to go for with the stream. So, okay, we're done with that. We're going to move on to, I'm going to close the game now and I'm going to open up. One of the things I'm going to have to figure out for the future is how to actually change it so that the audio is like, so that I can actually put my overlay for being right back while switching games. This next one we have is called Slumber Shine. It's made, both this and the last game were also both made in RPG Maker, which is interesting because I felt a little Rempy-ish, but then I remembered that it's got like, it's a stranger structure in terms of like, when you're trying to skip forward in Rempy, it can be very awkwardly like fluid, usually the skip button is, and there also was an action option menu in the game. So that's cool. It was actually made in RPG Maker client. The next game that we have for tonight is probably also a visual novel, but we'll see. It's called Slumber Shine, and let me pull it up real quick. This is a game that I got from Game Jolt. Game Jolt games, this comes off to me very much like, sometimes you'll find like on Game Jolt these like very specific kind of like strange games that are just like, you walk around for a little while through a couple things and then see like some unusual visuals, and then the game just kind of closes. So usually they're not very hefty. Like this seemed like a very short and strained experience. This was made, it says it was made almost 9 years ago. Can I get an exact date here? This was made in 2014. And yeah, it's a short and surreal graphic adventure game. Let me know. Let me look at what's been said. Father Gale hit us with a flurry of thoughts here. So I'll just read through a couple of them. She agreed almost entirely with my general understanding of the end of the game, and brought up the shoe, like, yeah, there's the shoegaze. Yeah, I agree. It did sound very much like shoegaze, and like felt very much like, you know, when you hit that wall of sound, it's like the whole game was like a visual version of that. It was very nice. The rest different from the rest in his ambient song. Got you. Oh yeah, I remember that. She mentions the Suicide album. Yep. There's an album from the band called Suicide. I think they only released like one album. I mostly only remember like the cover art and how like disturbing like a lot of the like particular content was. Slumber Sky. Oh, did I must have. Oh, I put Slumber Sky. I meant to put Slumber Shine. I'll switch that around when I get when I add that. Yeah, I'm switching between games right now. I got distracted a little bit. Anonymous was letting me know that I don't have a stream up, so let me pull that up. I will fix that. I will fix the description after the stream is over. You know. But yeah, this is called Slumber Shine. Let me open this. You'll know that I have a game up, but I haven't started it yet because there'll be usually like a sound at the start of the game. Excuse me. There'll be a sound at the start of the game, but there won't be yeah. Okay, Abraham Link was the person who I was calling Anonymous for the last little while. First of all, I've learned now that I should probably get an overlay up, but I was being very cautious about it just because it seemed like a very like real life name, and I always feel like a name chosen that is also the same as your real life, and I just don't want to accidentally like do any of that because you seemed a little confused on your way in, you know. Anyway, I will, but I to be fair, that might be a good enough reason why having a chat overlay is maybe not the most useful thing, so that I can scroll in the comments in advance and make sure they're like nobody like called like Jefferson Davis the Fourth comes in and is like, oh, yeah, I live over at the street, blah blah blah. I don't know what I would do. I'd have to edit it out in post or something, you know. But anyway, yeah, no, oh no, I get it. Yeah, I'm the same as far as trying to find silly ways to describe myself, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on. This also has a very similar mood. I didn't really spend that much time trying to make sure the games align very much with each other, but this is definitely a good follow-up for what we just played, at least so far. It started with a disturbance in the sky. Good morning, Zane. Good morning. Today I will trust divine guidance to head my actions, knowing that I will be brought to joy and prosperity. Is this the window? This feels like Courage the Cowardly Dog, but for blondes. The Courage the Cowardly Dog desert. We didn't know what it was or why it was, but everything suddenly started collapsing. Most people pretended that it wasn't happening. They kept going about their business as best they could. What else did they know? Others you could see out of their porches at night, spending what they knew was the last of bliss together in the comfortable suburban darkness. I am going to turn the audio up just a touch because I like the music. We were talking earlier about shoegaze. This is actually shoegaze, which is funny. Before I go that way, I'm going to check over here and make sure I don't miss something. This reminds me of one of my favorite games I played from last year. I believe it came out last year. It was called... No, I think it came out in 2021. It was called Life Tastes Like Cardboard. I love these like kind of flat surface games with a lot of like unusual visual effects, if they're top down and stuff like that. Weird art. I shouldn't say weird, but just strange, bizarre. Circus, not funhouse mirror games. That's what I would call them. They're like funhouse art, top-down experiences. I believe this probably came from the Mickey movie, but I should be a little better about giving my general thoughts at the end of the game. Anyway, here we are. Are we dead? I think no, not yet. Because people I love keep disappearing. I like this guy's little walk. It's so cute. That's how I walk around when I'm like in a good mood. I'll do a little bit of a jaunt like that. Leave the neighborhood. Yes. I feel like maybe one of the most adorable things about RPG Maker Engine is that little sound effect decision making noise. It's like my favorite. It's like, it's so cute, but also so quiche at the same time. Like, I love it. Yeah. It's almost like the sound effect staple. Mountains are some of the last quiet refuges from the pole. They are hard to climb as the air gets thinner, and the glitch tugs a little harder from its horrible perch the higher you ascend into the climb. That dream again. Zane, I have heard that the source of the fracture is here in these mountains. I think I missed some of the stuff like I just said. Now that you are a bird, will you fly to the west to look for the source and heal our world? Oh shit. My man just turned me into a bird. One of the only positives of dialogue not repeating in game, or dialogue repeating in games, is if you're actually not paying attention to what just happened. But if they really just like didn't show me the dialogue again, I would have respected that. It's just some of those things. Anyway, Abraham Link is pontificating about how most big studios wouldn't want more artistic and experimental stuff like this. But yeah, I think that's accurate too. One of the things that's so strange is this is definitely one of my favorite types of game, but it's only experimental on the visual level. Like, we're not doing anything, we're just locomoting around. Same was true with Life Tastes Like Cardboard. And people also say that Yuminiki is very, like, strange, and I mean, you do have some, like, weird esoteric interactions going on, like trying to actually figure out how one of your powers you picked up interacts with, like, something else in the world can be awkward. But on a functional level, you know, it's kind of like just a more strange point-and-click game, or just like a walking simulator in the 2D space, right? Like, we're not doing anything that's, like, particularly groundbreaking, but at the same time, by putting the visuals first, it just helps you have a better sense of, like, why you would even interact with this medium in the first place. It'd be very easy to miss things like that. As for why big studios tend to avoid this stuff, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Like, the risk factor to profit is, like, you know, there's just too much risk. It's the same reason why, you know, we're in, like, a little bit of a Marvel loop. The bigger something is, like, the more budget something has around it, the less sustainable it is. But on the other hand, I will say, like, I think this is a bit of a misnomer, right? That we would actually want a big budget version of something like this. For me personally, I think a lot of these games perform better by being so simple and short. Whereas if we were to have a version of this but The Last of Us, it would be, like, at least, like, 10 hours long. But one other thing I will say is I think a lot of games like this actually come out of very specific, by their metric, big budget games from, like, the SNES era or the N64 era. In particular, I'm thinking of games like Mario RPG and you know, Earthbound, both visually very strange, and they're very off by modern standards, right? But they're also very, like, they're still very focused, and that was in a time period where there wasn't as much of a focus on, because, you know, people would just replay what they had, so there wasn't so much a focus on length and the overhead you needed in order to make something that was going to be able to, you know, profit. Like, it was just different in that specific era of time. So that's how you had stuff like Star Fox. You know, Star Fox is like an hour long. Star Fox 64 is like an hour long. But nobody cares because it's so fun. But it's also like, you know, the focus was all put in the visual style. And I mean, over time, people just got so used to the medium that they wanted, like, more and more of an abundance of it. I think an abundance of it can be detrimental in some cases. I would not want like a long version of something like this, you know, that's like 50 hours long. You know? Are you looking to heal the earth too? Oh, you can go diagonal in this game. Very rare for RPG Maker games, especially around the mid-10s, to have that option. Yeah, Abraham Link mentions that FromSoft also has some strange stuff going on. I agree, actually. But I think Elden Ring is a good example for me, at least, of where the fatigue can set in, because it's a very beautiful game. Like, I actually love how that game looks, but, like, having to actually play through it, it's just, it was exhausting, and I don't think it was just because it was an open world game. I think it was fundamentally, when I play a FromSoft game, I want it to be so contained, like how this is, and so, like, have a specific energy, but then the more you stretch the game world out, the harder it is to keep like the music, for example. Like I found the music a little underwhelming, but I do like from Soft. I like Dark Souls obviously and stuff like that. Demon Souls. I have to go check out the Armored Core series at some point soon because I mean the 6th one came out, by the way. Anyway, one of the most entertaining to me is Evergrace. Like I haven't played too much of it, but Evergrace is so funny. You should check that out if you've not heard of it before. It's very much like the same energy. Oh, is it? All right, I'll turn it down a little bit. Somebody was just telling me the audio was a little loud. Yeah, I can turn my my microphone audio up. I hope that's any. Let me know if that's any better. I don't think I can get it too much louder than this for now. Though truthfully, I will say I do like being kind of drowned out by video games to a certain extent. I like having to fight with them. I didn't read what that guy said at all. Legends say that the source of the collapse can be accessed by one with the pure heart at the top of the mountain where the earth meets the breaking line. Oh, that's over here. This feels very much like we're at the peak of, a constellation or something happening in real time. I'm glad you like the earlier work of From Soft again. Even the air feels like it's breaking apart. Where am I? If you touch me, we will all wake up. Are you sure you want to wake up? We will all fade. And what dream will you wake into? Step back outside when you know and are known. Don't stop believing in the daylight that might someday press down on your wings from above. It's the oppressive proximity to the actual world, these bodies that makes it feel nearly impossible to bridge the space from suffering to the acceptance of pain. I will continue to be a bird in my heart. Looks at his arm. You will always be a bird in my heart. You always are in my dreams. Look, the sun is setting. There's the face again. Do others see it? Does anyone see else look into the glitch? Avoid the abyss. That seems to be most people's aphorism. Why do we keep looking? What we are looking into used to be a part of the world that was confined wholly to the unreal. We could pretend it didn't exist. We are unable to see it, a whole unified picture of existence. There were sciences and maths and religions to justify and pin down all we could see, and we could see everything. Here, the world is showing us more of the picture. The parts of the world that were hidden to us are now being shown in the brightest light, and I can't help but look. How worldly. Oh, my mouse, my cursor was in the picture frame there, my bad. Distinctions between dreams and reality don't exist anymore. If they ever did, there was once a master who said, Once upon a time, I, Joanne Cho, dreamt I was a butterfly, fluttering hither and thither, to all intents and purposes a butterfly. I was conscious only of my happiness as a butterfly, unaware that I was Cho. Soon I awaked, and there I was, veritably myself again. Now I do not know whether I was then a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or whether I am now a butterfly, dreaming I am a man. So true. I was gonna say, veritably is such a like a fun pompous word to like throw at people. Oh, veritably, I say, my chap, my good chap. Well, I don't want to spend too much time pontificating on this because it might be distracting for people who just are interested in seeing what the game is like. But I will respond to this one final comment from Abraham Lincoln on the subject of Elden Ring. I only brought it up earlier because I do think the game is beautiful, but it's one of those things where so much, like, even if you try to experiment, if you have enough, if the game is big enough and it has almost like too much going on, it can just be overwhelming, and you sort of take for granted the like what actually you are seeing and taking in. And I will say this does reflect a little bit in the fact that I tend to play things that are much shorter than that length. Elden Ring was actually one of the last games I played that was like over, I would say, like 10 hours long. For exactly that reason. I felt like even though I liked the world, I was just so smothered, and I was like drowning trying to find any recompense of what was going on. But I do agree again with the like experimentation of having the like horse over dawn and stuff like this. I also, one of the things I really like is like Caelid as a world area is like very beautiful, even if it is going off of like that very specific kind of like high fantasy. But I mean, again, this is one of those things where it's like a lot of that is just art and unusual character design. It's not like, I'm not trying to like be pretentious, but it's not like you're like playing with inverted controls or anything. It's still it's the basis of what we understand as a video game. That's completely fine. The same's true here, right? You're just walking around and you're soaking in a bunch of information. But I guess the difference for me is a lot of shorter games have a museum a thing going on where you're sort of peering into a world but not completely getting lost trying to figure out where to go. Omori has, I think, that same sort of thing, right? It's like a very beautiful game, very like strange and fantastical, but it's also like a game, and you have to like walk around and like find all these things and stuff and like figure out where the next direction you're trying to go is. I don't know. For me at least, it's too much of something can sort of lose my sense of direction. I think maybe that reflects the fact that I tend to enjoy things, at least in this style, that are more linear. Like I mentioned before, Yume Nikki, and I think Yume Nikki is great, but it's very like can be very exhausting trying to figure out where to go in that game. So, who are you? Yeah, and then Abraham Lincoln just talked about choice paralysis and how that can fatigue. Yeah, and it is fatigue. It's just, it goes, I guess, further into the whole like, why I don't get so enamored thinking about like how other companies should like do this thing and like do it now. I think on some base level, for me at least, it's just I prefer having them be more like scrapbook pictures, in a long line, like that I can keep a little scrapbook of individual game experience thoughts, and then rifle through them as I see fit, later on, rather than like sit down with something and like try to really open it up like a book, like peer through, find the crevices and everything. Also, when games are very large, I remember this was a big thing when Elden Ring came out too, right? Like, everybody was hitting it against like every single wall in that game, trying to find invisible walls and stuff, and there just wasn't really as many, at least like not until probably I would say like 20 hours in for most people, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, I have that too, where eventually you're just like, I don't want to miss anything, and then you just find yourself often cycling, trying to like make sure you've checked everywhere on the map, and like that you've hit every object and stuff like that. Very quickly, those games can turn a little bit into like a play tester's hell, and I don't, I would much rather stay away from that. But that's one of the other things that is why I tend to like top-down games too, right? Because it's easier to sort of have a sense of where you are in visual space better. The 3D games in general can exhaust that part of my brain a little bit, but it just depends. For my money, at least, from what I've played of them, Demon Souls is like my favorite because of how easy it is to know where you are, and like each level is like it's like a layered cake of level design, and you just sort of like go through an area and like clean it out, and then you can kind of just enjoy what is being depicted to you. Prefer that over some of the more labyrinthine approach, but like I said, I'm not a FromSoft expert. I'm sure that there's like plenty of earlier games in their collection that would suit me there too. Where are you going? I don't know. I think I might be stuck. I'm not sure where to go. Lost? Maybe this will help. How's that? Better? What do you want? You're a bird now. Come find me. Just turning into a bird. You found me. The world is shrinking. You'll find the visions don't distract you from what you already believe. There's a song about dreaming that I know. The exit you are looking for is behind you, just beyond the world you are in. You again? You always want what you can't have. I am sailing on the river of life. My body is healthy and functioning in a good way. My mind is calm. I am surrounded by love. I am successful in whatever I do. Oh, positive affirmations. My favorite thing that does not actually usually work, at least in my case. Everything is getting better every day. You are living in a house of dreams. At least it's not a house of cards. Zane. Yes. Even our dreams, no matter how strange, adhere to rules we understand. We can't always puzzle them out, but we can always describe them. This dream now fits in my pocket. Picks up dream. The world killed the body. Hello? Zane, where will we be when the world ends? Zane? Yes? Zane, will you come over, please? Yes? Will you bring my book when you come over? Yes? I believe that's the Bible. Oh, there we go. I got stuck on some collision for a second. I lost my member last night. It happened the same way your arm did. Turned gray and covered in flakes of dead skin. It came right off when I gave it a smoke. Some might say that finally signals the end of all meaning. The great phallus is gone, the epicenter of all that thought and activity of humanity has dissolved in the night of the rift. It's funny, it doesn't feel like anything has changed. Cosmetically, the world looks different. Now I'm experiencing it in a new way. But I doubt any great forms of meaning has shifted. Basic code and laws, and laws the code abides by, still remain intact, but all the zeros and ones have been rearranged. Whatever meaning the original arrangements held, functionally created by us, the rearrangement of the code feels like a cosmic reminder to what meaning actually is. Zane, yes, I'm really glad you came here. I am grateful, fully appreciating all the love in my life, the abundance. That kind of, the way that looked for a second, I was unsure if Zane was being called the abundance, because that's how stuff will often be a sign-off in poetry. Since I have a moment to walk around, I wanted to respond to the very sweet comment about how I don't need to, from Abraham here, about how I don't need to like explain the news in depth, and how most people know about, like, most, yeah, I'm very aware that FromSoft is one of those contentious, sort of like you like it or you don't things. I think one of the reasons I was so adamant about it is because I've thought about the design of that specific studio as much too. You know, I'm a gamer at heart, so I've been there. I'd say I'm a part of this group called Gamer. So I mean, I haven't played too much of their early work, but I have a good understanding of their specific action action game design approach. That's probably why I was pontificating on it more than I probably should have. I'm still trying to get used to whether or not I should respond to literally every comment, because when you're new to streaming, one of the aspects that tends to happen a lot is in larger chats, like a bunch of different comments will stream by and you couldn't possibly respond to all of them. So you just sort of pick something up by reading them. But on the other hand, when it's just a couple people, it creates a very strangely intimate atmosphere where somebody is pretty much just having a discussion with the screen, and that could be both a positive and a negative. I'm not sure I really want that to be the core of my personality. It's just an interesting point though, because I've thought about them a lot, and Dark Souls in particular was like a comfort game for me during a very rough time in my life. This was back when I was playing on the Xbox and stuff, and before I came out, I would just sit around and listen to podcasts and play video game all the time, because the audio design is just so good for Dark Souls, and the game, what you were expected to do in that game is so. It felt so much like a Metroidvania that you could just sort of peel through it and be comfortable trying to break the edges of peeling through it, and I love that game. I love it in a specific sense, but I think I'd be a little odd coming back to it now just because of how esoteric some of the things you're trying to do in it are. But I think we've reached a general mutual understanding of what I tend to like. I'll probably respond to not every comment in the future if I can help myself. It's just hard not to because I kind of want to respect what people are saying. I'll be more mindful about the audio, right? The audio in a lot of these are very heavy, and for whatever reason, my own audio is kind of low. So, did you bring the book? Yes. May I see it? Yes. Even the words on the page have changed. They are all out of order. Punctuation is in places that make no sense to me. Commas are in the middle of words. Capitalization is seemingly random. Where do people like us go? People who only have had and known one world. Before the glitch came, things we knew became scrambled and strange to our eyes. Things felt constantly new and hard to keep up with. The world before this one now feels consistent. I like this depiction, an idea of dream worlds and trying to make sense of them as an E.E. Cummings poem, where you're just, everything's just so discombobulated and you're just trying to get a sense of what's going on, but commas are in the wrong places and stuff. I knew, with the small margin of error, what consequences my actions would bring. Now, where do we go? I suppose that the glitch may be a chance to disseminate who we are. A loaded mixture of our fathers and mothers, the breath and sweat of life, and hundreds of ugly ticks and bodily aches, watching the world fracture at its core. At the core is the opportunity to spread ourselves into colors and shapes that don't have that don't have to mean anything anymore. At the least, I am loaded with the feeling of breaking into something that finally lacks the expectations of being cohesive. I am only because I was. It is what I think the world wants me to say. I am something that only retains a remainder of the past, which held on to symbols and signs and meanings. The absence that I now find in me, I hope will account for everything I can and will be. I hope this glitch is the chance for essence without a recursive nature that refers nothing but what was, and the newfound ability to be literally anything. Yeah, man. It's like when you get high with somebody and they sort of like start talking about life and you're just so lost. I'm happy you're here, Zane. Will you stay? Yes. Zane. David. I think I know where we will go. Yeah, I'll try to focus on not responding to like super longer questions and thoughts. Luckily, YouTube has a function that sort of prevents like long character posts anyway. But yeah, it's definitely a hard balancing act. But it's easier to respond to things when you're playing games and your only option are walking. Because otherwise, I have to sort of like come up with my own things or just sort of sit there and think. And it feels specifically rude, I guess, to me to like be walking around and then you're like nothing is like especially happening. But I find myself, even when I am responding to a lot of thoughts and like siphoning through them again, I will often try to excuse me. I will often try to go through the game again, or like I'll just be so distracted that I can't keep up with what was going on in the game and lose track of the ethos of what was happening by doing like that real life walk and talk thing. You know, you're walking around, but then you're listening to me talk as I get to the other spot. It's like, yeah, making companions out of people is maybe not the ideal approach there. I know something now. Just as the rock breaks into stone, the stone breaks into sand. The force of gravity eventually compresses the weight of all the sand. But I do appreciate the feedback because, I mean, I'm very brain-addled, so it's going to take a couple streams for me to get this this whole thing down pat. But this was definitely a test to some degree, you know? Into the new formations. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I was responding to a thought that somebody said that I interrupted right in the middle of the sentence, you know? I might have a little bit of an attention. My attention can very easily get swapped. It's a lot less like that I have like a attention deficit thing, and a lot more like, you know, it's like if you're playing like a magic trick on somebody and then you like can very quickly swipe the ball with a different color or something, like, you know, using like a little hand trick. I feel like my brain always just gets hit by those like information versions of those like hand tricks all the time, where I'm just like, whoa, you know, and then you just get distracted and you're like your focus just gets replaced in front of you, and then it can be replaced back afterwards and you go, whoa, no way, that's so cool. But thus it was with the great collapse. If this world, or a world of this similitude, is later formed, and we get to do this all over again, I hope that the love I send out may come back and merge with the settling dust. No problem. You can talk. Anybody can feel free to talk, even if they think they're being awkward, because I'm awkward too, so it's not a big loss either way. It's just with more involved games like this, it's awkward to figure out. Like, it was much less of a problem with the game we played before, but I'm not going to be good at any of this stuff for at least a while, you know. That our collective love may be the mortar that clings to the bricks of the foundation of life for a new next round of our experience today is. I'm unsure if we have hit the end of the... Oh, no. It's a very beautiful image. I should have taken a picture of that. Oh well. I guess I'm taking 1,000 pictures, so it's not that big of a deal. Oh! My heart jumped in my chest for a second. My man literally put the fucking Gmail on the screen. I hope this person's still doing well. I'm just gonna check real quick before we open up Morss to see if the person who made Slumber has made anything else. Games made by Slumber, or games made by, I think this guy's just called 25 Jaws is the developer. The last game they made was called Multima, which came out in, it doesn't say, and it came out in 2021, which is like 7 years later from this. So yeah, it seems like they post games very infrequently because there's only been 3 others since this was released like almost 10 years ago now, right? But I hope this person's doing well. I picked up a little bit of what I thought were some LGBT themes towards the beginning of that, with the fact that the main character was blonde, looking out a window and then switched over to the dream world, right? I think but it's hard to say for sure because a lot of like dream logic type stuff will often go that way. There was a little bit of philosophy like the world is becoming smaller and smaller, but then, usually that's something you'll see a lot in like trans narratives and stuff, is like the world sort of shrinking and you're getting a sense that you can be a different kind of person than the one that you've been told you can be. Like you can go outside of the script and like see the world from a different perspective than the one that you've been told that you have, is something you'll see a lot in like queer narratives. But we did at the very end up going back to the real world, and this person name is Zach in real life, and their dream version is Zach, but then when they wake up they're like a blonde girl, so it's just got some strange edges like that. It's like one of those things. It makes you end up thinking a little bit more about the developer than necessarily what the game was trying to go for. I mean, especially that's probably just a functionally true issue that comes up when you're like one of the only people who's worked on a game, and the credits are just your Gmail and like your name, and you put your name in the game. So I think it's not unfair to sort of think about the designer behind the game when they do stuff like that. But it can be very easy to overanalyze with that. Hello, John. Thank you. Yes, we're on the very last. We're gonna go. We have one game left. Yeah, I was just telling my friend, or not my friend. I should see. This is what I mean. Like, I appreciate the positive feedback and all, but there's still gonna be a little bit of stumbling. It's not that big of a deal, but it's one of those like, how exactly do I want to do this? Things that you have to sort of, you can only figure out while you're doing it, which makes earlier streams probably more awkward, but it's a growing experience for all of us, right? So the final game we're going to play is Morss, and I'll have to think more about Slumber, but I really liked the visual design and the sound at the very least. Like was really nice. It was a good lead off from the last game we played entirely by accident. I didn't realize they're gonna line up as well as they did. And then, this is just Slumber again. This game got a little more dreamy and philosophical. this next game is going to be like the centerpiece, the edge point for that exact approach. It opened in full screen, so just give me a second to make sure I can get the capture here and the audio correct. That also means I'll have to keep up with the chat on my second monitor. Otherwise, I've just been playing games in the windowed mode and eyeballing over at the chat when necessary. Let me open. Yeah, let's do this. Apologies for the having shown anybody's name on screen there for a second. Of course, it was just your video, your YouTube names and stuff, but I still get so awkward about that. Anyway, here we are. I turned the audio way down. It's the volume mixer is slightly louder than it was in the other game in terms of like just where the volume mixer is, but I can barely hear it. So, hopefully we're at a reasonable volume level for this.
安全说明，确保在任何时候都必须系好安全带，永远走不出你的座位。内血管而在任何时候都必须保持坐姿。请不要洒咖啡容器内的任何地方。处罚适用你的健康和安全，而在埃塞楼 UMS 附近是我们的负有责任。
I'm actually going to very quickly just turn the audio just very slightly down. There we go. So a lot of people going to have to stand up and fight. But remember to praise Jehovah. You are not.
You took your time getting here. Yes, you took your time, didn't you? Are we at the start of the track, or the end now I forget? Or suppose you wouldn't know. Or maybe you do. No. You don't have much time here. Anyway, do you know what the points have in common with my heart and voice? They are the key to my heart and voice. Our heart and voice, both of us here. Yes, both of us, not just one of us. We both have lots in common with the points. Where do you think you would be if you didn't get any of the points? You would be way behind. We would be waiting here for ages until it's Christmas time, and then you still probably wouldn't even be here. But we have to go now. Remember, keep your eyes on the prize. Yes, keep eyes on the prize. Good night.
I didn't quite catch everything they just said there, but I think they're a little annoyed with how long they've been waiting for me. That's alright. They look like anteaters. I like the visual design on that. The way that's animated. I didn't look up the year when this came out. I'll look it up afterwards. I'll also put the years of all the games in the description afterwards in case anybody's interested. Do not take my coin. I'll take your coin. You took my coin. Whose coin? A witness of one taking a stroll down a realm of spiraballs? Spirabillies? What's a spirabilly? And Morss following the one taking a stroll down the realm of spirabillies and Morss. Oh. Okay, they're not really supposed to make sense, I got you. Are we witnessing the witnesses of the one taking a stroll down the realm of spirabillies and Morss? Click, clock, clank, clonk. How wacky. Table manners. You must put the butter under your feet. That is not table manners. You slipped over, knocked the table, and made a big mess. And now we're all in as well. Hey man, I just got here, you know? Ooh, those teeth. Everybody's gonna talk trash on me. This is a fairly accurate depiction of what it's like trying to do international transit from an airplane to from an airplane to another airplane and from an airport to another airport across like the U.S. border. You know, the job is simple but dull. Didn't happen to bring any nice reggae tracks on board, did you? Oh, we just heard one earlier, but I don't know if it would be your thing. You seem a little too pretentious. You probably wouldn't like this simple Bob Marley stuff. Go for like the deep cuts or whatever. The fish. Yeah, that's a koi, I think it's called. Very obviously, I can't tell because I only speak one language, so I can't tell. I know that there's some multiculturalism stuff going on in terms of like what's being depicted in this game, but I have no clue if that was like a like facsimile of what Chinese sounds like, or if it is Chinese. But I know that's a koi fish, so those typically are associated. 5 years, 4 days, 3 hours, and 22 minutes until docking procedure must be initialized.
MOS 是低你 MOS 前1个小时打星星。在一家中国餐馆举行会议。
The thought that keeps coming back to your head, your last encounter with someone you love, it runs through your mind during the nanosecond before your death.
The man at the counter asks where the money is. He's been waiting since 10 days ago for you to bring him the money you promised. This is your last chance, he says while waving the gun in your face. Will I be able to get the money? What extremes must I go to get this man's money, you think to yourself. He is so close to pulling the trigger, before you know it your head may be placed in little pieces all over this room.
That's a mood. I used to be an artist. Did you want to see my latest painting? It involves getting coins. Oh, bitch, I've already been doing that. So, that works for me. Well, I thought I got all the coins then, but I guess we can go back over here to check real quick. Ah, we missed a couple over here. Just the one? Thanks for viewing my window to another world. I am sure you didn't like it, but it means a lot to me. It's sort of an in-joke on the surveillance back at Huskus for your info. Ah, they sneaked a... Yeah, that's kind of funny to me because I always, like, whenever I'm watching a movie and they, like, try to make fun of the, like, oh, here's some satire on the, like, the way that the air, air security, airport security is like, and it's like, oh, you think you're being cute, but actually, looks like whenever my guy is not entirely in frame, their eyes like bounce off to the side of their head like that. You guys notice that? Maybe I can go sit back down now and we can finally ride back out of here. Maybe I was supposed to go the other way and I didn't notice. Alright. Clearly I missed something downstairs. Very often you'll learn with me that I end up taking the scenic route in a lot of cases when it comes to games like this, just because, I'll miss the pathway and just kind of like walk in circles. But, it's fine. These took way longer to compose than I ever would get stuck on them, right? So, I don't really tend to mind if I get stuck in games anymore. I used to be, like, so furious whenever I get stuck in something, but the only thing I ever would be concerned about now is just getting, like, permanently stuck. But one of the good things about streaming is that, if you're stuck on something, it can feel like you've been there for an hour, even though it's only really been 10 minutes. But yeah, Abraham just mentioned that besides the languages they speak, they know Japanese, but they can't tell if it's, Japanese or Chinese or what. Yeah, it's not very clear to me because this is a sci-fi game, and I know the person who made this game is like non-white, so it's not one of these like Orientalists. Like, it's not intentionally an Orientalist thing. I think they're like from the Middle East. I haven't like looked too deeply into exactly where, because I tend not to. But they made the game called Dujaba. This is by the same person who made Dujaba, for anybody who knows what that is. I think their name was like King Spooner or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, the way is, like, sometimes there will be, like, satire, like, sci-fi, like, language, stuff like that. Like, obviously it's being done kind of in a funny way here because we don't actually know what they're saying, probably, as a listener, but it would be interesting to know whether or not that is, like, it was like, kind of faked, or, like, it is actually, like, Chinese, like, only, or Japanese, or anything. You haven't seen a rat around here, have you? Anywho, not looking forward to reaching said note, Kyre. Visual scanners say it's pretty unattractive. I remember floating towards a binary system. There was a big orange sun and a small blue one. It was pretty. Please take these 4 coins, you will need them. Did you hear the captain's message? Go back up to the bridge, it's important. Here we go again. This game seems very, very happy about the view screens that it was made on, you know, which is fine by me. Up, up, up. I didn't read what they said, but I assume that everybody else can read that. They just told me to go away. Are we witnessing the witnesses of the... Oh, I read this one before. Captain left a message down at the hall at the end. A message for you, I mean. Something about premonitions or something.
The universe is engulfed within itself.
Yes,
The sun implodes. All planets cease to have ever existed. All stars cease to have ever existed.
yes. No planets, no stars, nothing.
Your last thought, your most recent memory, is the only mass in existence. Your mind travels infinite light years, out of your head then back.
Yes, yes, it does.
Your death ray establishes space-time.
Yes, it establishes space-time.
Sorry for the noisy keyboard computer controls here. I will, for the next couple streams, try to find games that are more point-and-click oriented in order to suppress some of the noise, but, you know. Damn, this dude only dreams about money? Seems stark in comparison to what the last game was about.
Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered, what is all that? Will I ever be able to go to the stars? Well, let me tell you, space isn't a nice place and weird things will happen to you.
Yes, it isn't the best place to be up there in space, but it looks like you've gotten yourself into some kind of strange pickle that you can't get out of, which may lead to some strange experiences. Hopefully the coins are familiar and will help you to couple on your journey. Did you get your biological clock removed? It will make the experience run more smoothly. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, is he in?
Yes, he is now in.
Lullaby and good night,
and
with
good night,
roses
roses
bedight,
bedight,
although his doors spread, is my baby's sweet head. Lay you down now,
lay you down
and rest,
and
may
rest,
our slumber
may
be
your slumber
blessed.
be blessed.
Lay you down now,
Lay
and
you
rest,
down now,
may thy
and rest,
slumber be
may thy
blessed.
slumber be blessed.
Lullaby and good night,
Lullaby
your
and good
mother's
night,
delight,
your mother's
shining
delight,
angels,
shining angels beside my darling beside.
soft and warm is
Soft
your
and
bed.
warm
Close
is your
your
bed.
eyes,
Close
and
your
rest
eyes,
your
and
head.
rest your head.
Soft and warm is
Soft
your
and
bed.
warm
Close
is your
your
bed.
eyes,
Close
and
your
rest
eyes,
your
and
head.
rest your head.
Sleep ahead, close your
Sleep
eyes.
ahead,
Mother's
close your
right
eyes.
here beside you.
Mother's
I'll
right here
protect
beside
you from harm. You will
I will
wake in
protect
my
you from
arms.
harm.
Guardian
You will wake in
angels
my
are
arms.
near, so sleep on.
Guardian
With no
angels
fear.
are near, so
Guardian
sleep on.
angels
With
are
no
near,
fear.
so sleep on. With
Guardian
no
angels
fear.
are near, so
Lullaby
sleep
and
on.
sleep
With no
tight.
fear.
Hush, my
Lullaby
darling is
and
sleeping
sleep tight.
on his sheets white as cream, with his head
My
full
darling
of
is
dreams.
sleeping on
When
his
the
sheets
skies
white as
bright
cream,
with
with
dawn,
his head
he
full
will
of
wake
dreams.
in the morning.
When noontide warms the world, he will wake in the
frolic in
morning.
the sun.
When noontide warms the world, he will frolic in the sun.
Your spirit has now left the body, and you are safe.
Yes, your spirit has now left the body, and you are safe. Good night.
Me as a toddler watching the sixth baby sensory video in a row, but I've like half fallen asleep, but and then it just takes me down a rabbit hole of like really random text-to-speech videos. But that didn't happen because I didn't watch a baby sensory
Everything you
video.
experience, it is all going on in a dimension only accessed through your mind. You can make any decision you want. Do not worry. Time is irrelevant. What you call time is only another second before your death. Am I right in saying this?
Yes, he is right in saying this. Be careful, you can what you might think, speed things up, and slow them down. But it's all an illusion, created in your mind. There is no such thing as time here.
Yes, no such thing as time. I feel we must drill that in your head. Whether in rewind or fast forward, time is only a concept. So you could think of this whole experience as nothing. You don't need to do anything, only your memory motivates your actions.
However we experience the time you think you experience. Luckily we're very patient, but this experience isn't about us. We're only here to make it worth your non-existent while. And now we must begin the spiritual so I managed to analyze the qualities of both energy which manages to like the language and I find so the children need to know what suddenly say around us and so on from and all that was there was not all was not so I have levels and army. You are now not one of us. You are now both of us. Welcome to Signal Care.
A lot of people won't get no supper tonight. A lot of people going to supper tonight.
Well, I do like what it's getting at with the whole like idea of time disappearing when you're in space. Because if you're in space, like, our concept of time is based on the orbit of the Earth a little bit, and also our body. So if you don't have an orbit of the Earth, you don't have a clear concept of time anymore. So that's kind of neat, but You know how I shot you back in the head? I take it back. Please come back. Said no cure will get it. Oh.
Hey, a lot of people will be running and hiding tonight. Said a lot of one gonna run and hide tonight. Cause it's your action. You must get your fraction in this salvation. It's on.
I think we might be fading out. Let me just check. I have no clue, but I think this is probably the end of the game. I'll give it like a couple more minutes first, just to see. I think this is the end. I'll come back and finish this off in the case that it isn't. That was very silly. I forgot Dujaba also has a bunch of silly stuff in it. I think I thought this was a different Sluggish Morss game. The one I think I saw Vine Sauce play like a while back. It's still fine. I liked that it was, I liked it, so it's fine. I don't really like the circuitous dialogue thing that they were doing, where it was like, oh, the whiskers of the whiskers and stuff. I think that could be kind of hackneyed, but outside of that, this was neat if silly, and I liked a lot of the visual design. It reminded me a little bit of Hotline Miami, but like not just quiche about it, like in terms of the art punk stuff. Oh, hey, look, it looks like this is like still going. Not sure what to make of this. I didn't think it was gonna buzz like that. Anyway, I'm getting kind of tired anyway, so this is a comfortable enough spot to end for now, regardless. Yeah, the Dujaba guy. Yeah, they've made like a bunch of different stuff. King Spooner. I think I missed the Wilhelm scream. That's funny. Because somebody was saying that there was a Wilhelm scream in here. I have played about half of Oberdin, but see, the thing is I'm American, so my understanding of other people, like, there's a whole section where you had to sort of guess off people's nationalities and stuff, and they're like cultural signifiers, and that's kind of where I lost it. But also, I just having issues with that game, to be honest. It was like trying to play like a giant game of Mastermind, but I'll definitely get back around to Oberdin at some point. I liked what I played of it. Alright, I think we're... Oh, hopefully we haven't shown anything we weren't supposed to here. I think we're done. It was nice hanging out with everyone. I hope one of those games was interesting, and I hope it furthers you to go see what the other games that the people who've made any of the stuff that you've seen here today has made. Personally, I was the biggest fan of the second game we played, which I've misspelled, so I'll go and fix it. The game's actually called something else other than that. Yeah, I have social media. I mean, do any of us have social media now that the social landscape has been sort of like upended so recently? But yeah, my Twitter my Twitter is this, and I'm also over on Cohost. Hold on, let me open this. That's a great question, by the way. So there's my Twitter, and here is my Cohost. I have one other sort of, in terms of social media, I use one other thing. I don't use Tumblr, I will say that, but how do I get my... This should get you to my Cohost. You use this here, because I can't seem to get the actual effective link to it. And then, yeah, I have one other one, but if you lurk around for long enough on either of those two, you'll find out what that one is. That one's more private. Yeah, and there's one other one here. I guess I should probably put my socials in at the bottom of the thing here tomorrow too. So I'll do that. I'll remember to upload my socials for personal stuff. Oh yeah, I haven't fixed my twin P. My pinned tweet is like so old, that I just kind of forgot that I even have one. I will be sure to post my socials in the bottom for all the streams in the future. Yeah, I'll put them also in the About channel. That seems reasonable. Thanks. Anyway, that's it. So I hope everybody had fun. I didn't think of a song for playing us out, but let me see if I can just grab something real quick that would be appropriate. Bye, guys.